We live in a twilight world, and I think I'm going to do a quick recording right now, but it's going to be very, very quick because even though it's nighttime here, it's still very, very hot and humid. And yeah, man, so I've got to do it quick before I overheat in my car. So yeah, the other day I did a video talking about, time travel, a more realistic version of time travel that we see like in the film Tenet. Red represents going forward in time, blue represents going backwards, and then of course there'll be a purple in between time. So yeah, I can't actually remember what the fuck I said in that video. I never listen back to my own recordings because I can't bear to hear the sound of my own voice. So apologies if I've said all this shit before, but yeah, I can't remember what I said. But I think mainly in that video I was talking about the concept of the Earth, regardless of what shape you think it is, whether it's round or flat or donut shaped, being inverted and going back in time, and how that would mess up us who are on it, living on it. And that might explain some of the wild times we find ourselves in. But anyway, what I really want to focus on is consciousness being inverted and going back in time. Not for everyone, maybe only for a few of us. I don't know. Now, what I've been hearing through the grapevine a lot lately is that a lot of people are going back to old habits. People that have I'll give you an example. People that have quit smoking for years, like 18 years, haven't smoked, are now going back to smoking. Like myself, as I'm I'm still like a gym head and a fitness head, and I keep an eye on kind of like the fitness industry and world. I've noticed there's a lot of guys that kind of like bodybuilders and stuff that during the lockdowns, from 2020 all the way up until, recently said they were never going to do steroids again. They quit bodybuilding. It's over for them. There's more to life than the fitness industry. Well, guess what? Most of them are now back taking steroids, uploading fitness videos, doing exactly what they were doing pre-2020. It's like their consciousness has gone back to pre-2020. Same as the smokers that have gone back to doing things they were doing like pre-2020. Now, even myself, I'm kind of getting the urge to just go back to how I used to live pre-2020. Now that everything's kind of died down regarding kind of, lockdowns and all that kind of shit. I kind of feel my consciousness being drawn back to my old lifestyle. And I do find like that, the life I've been living over the last 3 years isn't very appealing to me anymore. How can I explain this? Like during them lockdowns, right, I'd go to the beach every day. I don't know about yourselves, but I thoroughly enjoyed the lockdowns because, in this inverted world we live in, there was actually a lot more freedom available during the lockdowns. If you were savvy enough to exploit that, you had a good time in the lockdowns, right? International travel was off the cards, but getting around your own country, like here in the UK, getting around Great Britain, seeing Wales, seeing Scotland was just so easy because there was no one around. Fuel was super cheap. Hotels are super cheap. It was just a great time anyway. And interestingly, that's when I really got into like podcasting. Not making podcasts, but listening to podcasts, right? And it really was, in my opinion, the golden age of podcasting. Because it basically, with everyone kind of like speculating on what the hell was going on with these lockdowns, it really brought out the Philip K. Dick science fiction writer in everyone. And it was an amazing time for podcasting just to hear people's theories about what they thought was actually going on. Because it's very, very clear it wasn't about what they were saying it was about. It was something bigger going on. From the asteroid theories to what I'm talking about, time travel theories and so on. Man, it was just really good content. And I remember I'd go down to the beach and I'd just load up. What I would do is I'd load up my phone with no SIM card, and I'd basically download all these podcasts and then go to the beach with no phone and use this other phone as like a iPod. And I'd have like every day, even though I'd smash through these podcasts, there'd be like 20 new ones that you can tell were just going to be banger of episodes. And I was just excited to just get back down to the beach, sit in the sun and listen to these wild speculative podcasts, man. It was just a great time. So yeah, there was like a backlog. There was constantly like a backlog of 10, 20 podcasts you had to get through. And I don't know about you, but nowadays, I struggle to find a decent podcast. I don't find myself just turning off halfway through. I feel it's just the same old... It's gone back to the same boring conversations that were happening pre-2020. Epstein's coming back up. Trump's coming back up. So it really does give kind of credibility to our time being inverted, but not as you think. Like, not as like the Hollywood would make out, but more of a consciousness kind of thing. And whether that's a collective consciousness or an individual consciousness, you know, that's a different topic for a different day. But yeah, man, I listen to podcasts now and I get frustrated with them. Not only are they boring and it's the same shit I've heard, after all that's happened, people are still going back to that linear thinking, which I find unbearable. And it's like, come on, man, after all that's happened in the last 3 or 4 years, you're still going to go back to that kind of linear thinking. It's unbearable. Yeah, man. So from 20 podcasts a day, amazing podcasts a day, I'm now down to about 2 or 3 a week that I kind of like listen to. That if I didn't listen to, I wouldn't be that bothered because I know I haven't really missed much. And in many ways, that's why I kind of got into podcasting or making these little recordings, is because I was so dissatisfied with the content that was coming out, you know? So yeah. But yeah, I feel myself going back to old ways. I feel like, I don't know, I kind of feel like going back to a gym myself and going back to that, being that guy that was going gym twice a day. I thought I would never go back to that. But right now I'm a bit like, well, what else is there to do, really? We really have gone back into that kind of materialist, capitalist horseshit we had 2020. And I don't know, man. Maybe it's just me, innit? Maybe it's just me. Like, I'm just one of these people I can't find... Throughout my life, I struggle to find satisfaction in anything. And I do get bored easily. I'll be the first to admit I'm a person that gets bored easily. Like, I've never really found one thing that satisfied me. You know, I'm talking from jobs to places I've lived, to holiday destinations, to girlfriends, to whatever. And maybe it's just that. Maybe I'm at a space now where I'm just like, I need to move again, or try some new hobbies, try some new adventures in life, you know? Because see me, how I view it, if I'm going to use like a metaphor or allegory, is that I go into a room and I'll enjoy that room for as much as I can and for as much as I want to. And then once I'm bored of it, I'll go on to the next room. When I say room, I'm talking about like, that room could be anything. Like see me here now being a guy making YouTube videos and having like a quirky Twitter account, right? I started that like 2 years ago. And I consider that going into a Twitter room, going into the social media space. And now I'm a bit bored of it. I might go into the next room. And I don't know what that room might be. It might be, I don't know. I might want to go work at a ski resort or something. And then I'll do that for 3 or 4 years, get bored of it. Then I'll do the next thing and the next thing. But that's just me, right? But yeah, going back to like the collective consciousness or the collective kind of, the masses, I am noticing a lot of people, yeah, man, going back to old habits, going back to old ways. You know, in those lockdowns, we saw a lot of people level up, right? Like, I'll give you an example. Near where I live, there's a cab driver, right? He's an old guy. And you can just tell, like, he used to be, when you meet an old guy, they used to be like either a bodybuilder or a rugby player, because they've still got that that gait, right? That's that. Even though they're not doing it so much now, they're not like, they're kind of old, but you can just tell. Anyway, during the lockdowns, I would keep crossing paths with this cab driver, a taxi driver for you guys in America. And, I'd stop and talk to him, right? And during the lockdowns, he really leveled up. I got chatting to him, he grew a beard. He was doing because all the gyms were closed, he was doing outdoor workouts. He was doing all his cold plunges. He was on a keto diet. He was basically telling me about all these kind of little things he was doing, right? That were quite leveling up, looking after his own body, meditating in a way, switching the game up. I'm back chatting to him now, or when I see him now, he's now gone back to his old ways. He's lost his beard. He's practically working a 9 to 5 as a cab driver. He doesn't look as ripped. I can tell he's put on a bit of weight, so he's eating shit food. And, he's reverted back. He's reverted back to that person he was before the lockdowns. So, yeah. That's it, Last video, we talked about the earth being inverted. And this one, we're talking about the consciousness being inverted. We got to remember it isn't everyone. And we have to kind of play around with the idea that the earth is split into two. And although we're sharing the same space, the earth has metaphorically split in two, with some people going on to the new earth, some people going or just stuck on the old earth, or maybe they're going back to the old ways. You could say the technocrats are going deeper into a world that's, to me, is not going to be very good. Whereas a lot of people can see the, technocratic future not very nice, and are going back to getting a farm and, growing their own vegetables and having chickens and rejecting this materialistic kind of atheistic life, But anyway, it's very hot in this car now, so I'm going to end this video here. We live in a twilight world, and there are no friends at dusk.